Well, this is Marna Weston for the Sam Proctor Oral History Program at the University of Florida, in the home of Mr. Mack Mizell in Lake City, Florida. Thank you for having us here today, sir.
All right, sir.
Could you please state your full name?
My name is Mack Mizell, M-A-C-K-M-I-Z-E-L-L, Mack Mizell.
And what is your date of birth, please, sir?
12/17/30,
And where were you born?
Hamilton County.
And could you tell us about your mom and dad?
Well, let's see. Which one me tell you about my mom and daddy?
Well, who are they?
Oh, my mama was Johnny Lee Roberts. She was from White Spring, Florida. And my daddy was Jesse Mizell. He was from Jasper.
Okay. How did they meet?
I don't really know that part there. Well, I say, actually, I tell you how they met, because my mama's sister married my daddy's brother. My mama's sister married my daddy's brother. And my mama's parents, all them died, and so my mama had to go live with her sister. And so by her sister being married to my daddy's brother, that's how they met. Yeah.
Okay. And how about your dad?
What about him?
Well, being from Jasper, Florida.
Yeah.
Who were his parents?
His parents was Henry Mizell, and his wife was named Nancy, and they was from Fargo, Georgia.
Okay. And what about your grandparents on that side?
I don't know nothing about them. Well, actually, they actually were slaves when they come to up there. They was actually slaves when they come there. My dad was 81 years old when he died, and his brother was 103 when he died. So you talking about a long time ago, and I'm 79. You talking about a long time ago.
Well, that's good, though. That's good longevity. Still got a ways to go.
Yeah, huh?
Now, how about your mom and your mother's mother and father?
They lived in White Spring. I didn't know too much about them now, because my mama died, and then she would live with her sister, so I didn't know much about them. But actually, my mama's parents was actually white. Okay. They was actually white. My mama's parents was actually white, but some of them went for black, some of them went for white, because there was one of my mama's uncle stayed right there in White Spring, named Brownie Roberts. Brownie Roberts was my mama's daddy's brother, but he went for white. Brownie Roberts did, but the rest of them went for black. But all my mama's sister and brother was actually white, but they went for black. They was real fair skinned with blue eyes. They was actually white, but they went for black. Yeah.
So does that mean that once they decided which world they wanted to live in, they didn't talk to each other that much? Or did they stay in communication?
Oh, yeah, you mean the white side?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, Brandon Roberts, right here, I was down there where he had a fish pond, and I went down there. After I married my wife, I went down there where he had a fish pond right behind where my wife come from. And he told me right then, I'm your uncle. He said, I'm your uncle.
So he wanted you to know.
Yeah, he wanted me to know. Yeah.
So now your wife, let's talk about her for just a minute. What is her name?
Her name is Susan May Scipio.
Okay, and how did you all meet?
Well, I was just riding around here. I had an old car riding around here. Just met up with her down to a church. Met up with her to a church, yeah.
What kind of car did you have?
A 37 Chevrolet.
Okay, and what was the church?
The church was Sweet Home Baptist Church. It's still in existence, but not at the same place.
So when you all met, was it during a church service? Was it a church social?
No, we met just a little piece from the church. Was a stream across the road. It was a county road, but there was a stream across that county road, and there was a spring down there, and a lot of them was going back and forth to the spring, and that's where she was at, down there to the spring down there.
Well, what caught your attention about her? How did you end up talking to her?
Well, I just met her, we was talking, but I messed around there, took my watch away from my head. A watch, she took it, didn't give it back. So, yeah, and I think I had a pair of sunglasses, took them too.
And how long have you all been married?
56 years.
And tell us about your children, please.
Well, let's see. You mean what they do and about where they at?
Who they are?
Well, my oldest daughter live in Boynton Beach, Florida, and she worked for Social Security. She's been there 29 years.
And what's her name?
Her name is Lenore Walton.
Okay.
And let's see. And my middle-aged daughter, she worked right here in Lake City, and her name is Barbara Perry. That's her husband named Perry. Barbara Perry, and she worked at the VA hospital. She's a occupational therapist. That's what she do there.
Okay.
And then my next oldest daughter is, she's a mail carrier. That's one who stayed in the Army 12 and a half years. She's a mail carrier in Jacksonville. That's what she do. And my son, he's work for Lachlan County Sheriff Department.
Okay. The last two, I'm sorry I didn't get their names. Your youngest daughter and your son's names are?
Huh?
What are their names? Your youngest daughter and your son.
Oh, my youngest daughter named Angel Ortiz. She was married to a Puerto Rican. His name is Angel Ortiz. And my son, his name is the same thing my name is. We've been both named the same thing. His name is Mack Mizell. That's what I'm named. That's what he named. Only difference, he got an F. His name is Mack Floyd Mizell, so he got an F in the middle of his.
Okay.
So that's the only difference me and him.
Now, what's your middle name?
Huh?
Your middle name.
My middle name?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a middle name.
Oh, you're just Mack Mizell, and he's Mack Floyd Mizell.
Now, in the beginning, I did have a middle name, but see, when I was going to school, it was in the little city we was in, there was a Jew running the store there, and his name was Mack Miles, and I was named after Mack Miles. And the children was teasing me, yeah, you ain't nobody but old Mack Miles. And so the teacher said, you ain't got to spell your name that way, you can spell it different. My name is Mack, see, my name is M-E-X, Maxie Miles was my name. Maxie Miles was my name. What I did, I changed my name. I changed it. I changed it to M-A-C-K, Mack Mizell. I changed it. I just got it straight. Yeah, but let's see, about a year ago, I got it straight because I wanted to go on a cruise. So I had to get it straight so I could get a passport.
So it took all those years to get it right.
No. See, when I went in the army, in the military, in my name that I changed, Mack Mizell. I didn't go in there in the M-E-X. Max, Max and Miles, I didn't go in that name. I changed it when I was going to school because they teased me about old Mack Miles, and so I changed it. And so I went in the military under the name I got now, so I had to stick with that name. Once I went in the military with that name, I had to stick with the name I got now, so I went and had it changed on paper, where I get a birth certificate stating that, because all my insurance and everything is under that name, Mack Mizell. So if I hadn't got it changed, it'd be probably for somebody when I died.
Now, you said you went to school until the 8th grade.
To the 8th grade, right.
So, what is your first memories of school? Where did you start going to school at?
Well, where I lived at, the church was the school. Wherever the church was, that was the school. Where we went to church, that's where we went to school at. So what they did, they built the church right about the middle of the community where most of the people stayed at. What they did, they built it where it would be about 3 miles in every direction. And so and some of those children were walking 3 miles morning and night too. Some of them walking 3 miles morning and night. Although the school bus come right by where they're at, but it wouldn't pick them up though. Yeah. Uh-huh.
What was the name of the church school?
Spring Branch Baptist Church. Yeah, Spring Branch was the name of it. It was named after a little spring, but a little bowling spring down there. It was named after that spring. Uh-huh.
And did you have one teacher or more than one teacher?
Oh, no, we had a lot of teachers. Let's see. My first teacher was named Minnie Brown. She was a real tough teacher. And I don't know how many years she taught, but then later on my last teacher was a teacher from Lake City. Her name was, what that lady name was, Murphy. Her last name was Murphy, yeah. And during that time, the teacher had to stay with somebody in the community because she had to, board with somebody because she had no way of getting about either, so she had to board with somebody in the community, and she had to walk to school right along with the rest of us.
So you finished school in the 8th grade, and did you get a job, or what did you do when you finished school?
I didn't finish school, but I actually dropped out when I got to 8th. Where I was going to school at, that's high as they went. 8th grade is high as they went to that church. That's how they went with 8th grade. If you want to go higher than that, you had to probably get a room in town with somebody.
Okay.
So that's how they went. But while right about when I was in the 8th grade, what happened? Just about all the people moved out that settlement, and there was just a very few black children in that settlement. So what they did, they only paid the teacher $21 a month. That was paid the teacher $21 a month. So there was a guy stayed down on the very far end. He asked the county would they give him that $21 a month, and he hauled the children to school, to the county, to town to school, and they told him yeah, and so he had old 35 Chevrolet, and he had a body made on the back of it, and he hauled the children on it until he hauled the children on it about a couple of years, and then my uncle, he bought a 3/4 ton Chevrolet, and he started hauling them on, had a cameras around the back of it. He hauled them about 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years, I think he hauled them, but he had a heart attack and he died, so then the county gave the black people around there an old school bus, not a new one, a real old one. So they had a black school bus and a white school bus, and so that went on. I don't really know what year they changed where the white and black ride the same bus. I don't know whether they even ride the same bus now or not. I know there's a bunch of buses running in that area, but I like I said, I'm not associated with the school thing nowadays, so I don't know what went on there. But for a long time there was a white school bus and a black school bus. The black school bus was one about wore out, from white had about wore out and get to black.
Do you remember the name of the man that drove the 35 Chevy, the first?
His name was Verner Parrish. Verner Parrish, and he was staying down here to Sarasota, I think, where he was staying there, and he moved up there back to his old home place, and then he the one had the 35 Chevrolet, old 35 Chevrolet truck with a body on closed in with the cameras on the back. He the one first started hauling the children. He did. The name was Verner Parrish.
Now, what about your uncle who died of a heart attack, the second bus driver? What was his name?
His name was John J-O-H-N, John Mizell. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So your family has been in Hamilton County for a long time.
Yeah, in Hamilton County, a real long time. Yeah, Hamilton County, yeah.
When you finished school, after you dropped out 8th grade, what did you do then?
Well, back in that time, tubbing time was the main thing. Back in that time was tubbing time. Most everybody had a job working in tubbing time. So I got a job working in tubbing time right with the rest of them. So, and they had chipping and pulling boxes, you call it, and what you did, they had a sharp thing. You just cut a little street cross 2 ways like this, and every week you had to make another street, had to make another first street, make tar keep running, and just an average worker could chip about 1,000 trees a day. I chipped 2,000 a day, and I walked 3 miles to start. You had to walk where you going, and I walked 3 miles and chipped 2,000 and walked back home. Yeah.
Where was this at? Was this around Jasper, or did you have to go somewhere else?
No, it was right off in front of where we lived at. Right off in front of where we lived at, which Oxdale's up there, and I didn't dug it all up, but that's where it was at.
How many men were doing that same kind of job as you?
Probably every black man was in that county was doing the same thing I was doing. with just two kind of jobs there. It was sawmill and turpentine. There were just two type of jobs there. You was either working at a sawmill or you working at turpentine.
Okay, what if you decided you didn't want to do either one of those jobs?
You'd have to leave that county. Oh yeah, wait a minute. There's a lot of farming going on. Yeah, a lot of farming, but they ain't pay nothing working on the farm. 50 cents a day. That's all they paid working on the farm. But see, chipping boxes, what I was doing, they paid $4 a thousand. I chipped 2,000 a day. See, I made $8. But you working on the farm, you got 50 cents a day, $2.50 a week. You didn't get very much.
So it was one of them three things. That was it.
That was it.
When you finished turpentine, how long did you do that?
Let's see. I believe, no, I started saying I did till I went in the military. No, I didn't either. I did about, I'd say about 6 or 7 years I did that. And then, I forgot there was another place there was in Jasper, there was a thing called Maxwell Brothers. It was a great big building called Maxwell Brothers. And what they did, they made crates and things, put refrigerators and things in. And it was called Maxwell Brothers. And a lot of people right there, actually about 900 people right there, a whole lot of people right there to Maxwell Brothers. They made plywood and they cut it all up and made boxes out of it and things like this. Yeah. And it was the best paying job in the town. They paid $24 a week. Yeah,
Black people and white people work there?
Black and white people right there.
Okay. Did everybody get paid the same?
So everybody get paid the same.
Okay. Now, is that business still open or?
No. It some years back, I think it was in 1958, they shut it down. They shut that part down. They had another plant in Macon, Georgia, which is called a wire-bound plant, which to make these crates with oranges go in, called a wire-bound plant. So the biggest operation was in Macon, Georgia, but so they shut this one down and moved everything to Macon.
Do you recall who the owners of the plant was?
All I know is Maxwell Brothers. Maxwell Brothers, that was the name of it. And it was a big operation. Let's say about 900 people. It was a big operation. Yeah.
Now you mentioned you were drafted into the service. So the Maxwell Brothers job stopped and then you got drafted, or did you do something before you went to the military?
No, I was working at Maxwell Brothers when I went to the military.
How did you find out that you were drafted?
Let me put it this way. First time I was drafted in 47, but they turned me down. In 47, they turned me down. All right, we was working at Maxwell Brothers, and something other happened, and something that went wrong. Had to shut down part I was working at. Had to shut that part down because something went wrong in there. And so we just kind of messed around until you got that fixed, because just kind of hang around the place until you got it fixed. And so it was about 5 or 6 of us got to talking, and they said, let's go to Valdosta, Georgia, and volunteer for the Army. It's okay, that's a good idea. We all jumped in the car and went to Valdosta.
Do you remember whose idea that was?
I don't know, some of them anyway. We jumped in the car and went to Valdosta, to the recruiting place in Valdosta. When they got there, all of them chickened out but me. All of them chickened out, they decided they wouldn't go in there. I said, shit, I'll go in there. If y'all don't go in there, I'll go in there. I went on in there, and I took the test. The man said, well, you didn't make enough on the test. I told him I wasn't be in the Navy. He said, you didn't make enough on the test to be in the Navy, but you could be in the Army or the Marine. You could be in either one of them. I said, I don't want to be in either one of them. And so I said, well, he said, I'm going to have to send this test to your local board. I said, you can send it anywhere you want to send. I said, because during that time I had a 74 Indian Chief motorcycle. I said, I'm going to this place just outside of Chicago. It's in Indiana. Gary. I said, I'm going to Gary, Indiana in a few weeks. And so the man said, I'm going to send this to your local board in a few weeks. I was in Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
You told him a little bit too much.
I guess I did.
So you were inducted. You were drafted and inducted.
Right.
And sent to South Carolina.
Yeah, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. that's the induction place where they get you, take you there, and they give you all the clothes and everything, and then they ship you out somewhere else.
How did you get to Fort Jackson?
On the train, caught right in the middle of the street there in Jacksonville.
How'd you get over to Jacksonville?
On a bus, Greyhound. I was on Greyhound. They came over there on Greyhound.
Did you have to get on it yourself, or they came and got you and said, "We going to Jacksonville"?
No, we was all to meet up there at Jasper, up there to a certain place up there to the bus station. We was all to meet at the bus station. They had to give us all a ticket. Okay. And at the bus station, they had to give us all a ticket at Greyhound. And we got on the Greyhound, and it took us to Jacksonville. And they got through processing us right about 12 o'clock at night. And so they carried us down there, and the train was put right in the middle of the street. They had us get on right there. Mm-hmm.
What year was that?
In 52.
Do you remember what time of year, what month?
It was in December.
December, so before Christmas.
It was December the 7th in 52.
And you were on your way to South Carolina.
Yeah, we went to South Carolina.
So what happened when you got there?
Like froze to death for one day. They had us in a little building, was walled up about 5 foot high, and the rest of it was canvas. And on the inside, it had a pot-belly coal heater, fired by coal on the inside. And at night, the wind get to pulling that canvas up and down, like shit. You almost freeze in there. And if somebody get in and fire the heater up good, and it'll last about 3 or 4 hours, and then it sure enough get cold in. It'll get real cold in there then. Cause I was way down here wasn't used to cold weather like that nowhere.
How long did you stay in Fort Jackson?
About 2 weeks, I think. Stayed about 2 weeks.
And what did you do while you were there?
They had what's called a consolidated mess hall down there. The mess hall is, you talking about a big mess hall. It was a big one, sure enough. I mean, they fed about 1,500 people a day at that mess hall, consolidated mess hall. I washed pots every day until then they come down and get us and take us to, maybe they'll take us down there and fit it with our shoes. Then next day, you might issue out your clothes. And so just whenever they had something they were going to process you with, they'd come get you and take it down there. But otherwise, you'd be in that consolidated mess hall there, washing pots and pans and everything else, peeling onions, peeling iced potato, and all kind of things. Okay,
so they never took you to drill with the weapons, or?
No, they don't do that until you get into, you get into your permanent training outfit you're going to get in. The permanent training outfit was in Fort Rook, Alabama. Okay. And that was just a Fort Jackson place where, get your clothes and cut your hair and get your clothes and you get everything you're supposed to have. You get all that, and then they ship out where you're going. Then that's where you start your training at.
But before then, you got to wash all the pots and pans.
Huh?
Before then, you got to wash all the pots and pans.
Every day, way late in the night.
Now, the Army was integrated in 1948. You were in 1952. So, were you in an integrated unit? Was there blacks and whites together?
Yeah. But in Alabama, they said I was in the first integrated Army. Integrated outfit in Alabama. They said the first integrated outfit was one I was in Alabama.
Is that where you went right from Fort Jackson, Alabama?
Yeah.
Well, what was that like?
I can't tell you exactly what that was like. That was a real trouble.
Really?
Yeah,
What made it terrible?
What made it trouble? We took 16 weeks of basic training. Now people don't take but 8. We took 16 weeks of basic training, and they get you up in the morning time about 4 o'clock, and you go to mess hall and eat, and then they start taking different places, and that'll last until about 10 o'clock that night, and the next morning the same thing again.
For 16 weeks.
Yeah, 16 weeks, right.
Now, did you have to wash pots and pans there, or you were finally put?
Well, see, sometimes now what they had to do there, they have a roster where they have different people's name up there. That maybe once a month you be on KP. They call that KP. So once a month you be on KP. So because it was in our company. There was 235 in our company. There's a lot of them in our company. 235 was in there, so it was a lot of us. So they take out every day. Take out somewhere, training somewhere, and show you a movie or something. Was you in the military?
No, sir. I was born at Bragg. My dad was in the 82nd.
He was in the 82nd Airborne?
I was born at Womack when he was in the service.
Yeah, well, every day they take us somewhere, in the training thing. Every day they take us somewhere, and I mean, just run everywhere. Just run. And I mean, you'd be so sleepy. I was so sleepy, in fact, I got where I could sleep standing up.
So you were there for 16 weeks.
16 weeks.
And then what happened after that?
After that, they put us in what we call a T&E outfit, which was in a trucking outfit. Then they put us in a trucking outfit then. And it was all right in the trucking outfit, because once you got in the T&E outfit, it was like you was assigned a regular job. Then from then on, you just had a regular job.
And what was your job?
Driving the truck.
Okay. And what outfit were you with? What was your company?
I was in 144 Light Trucking Company. 144.
And how long did you stay with them?
Well, we left from there and went to Fort Gordon. When we went to Fort Gordon, we drove from there to Fort Gordon, Georgia. When we got there, we stayed there about 6 months or longer. And then they put us in a 700 truck battalion. But actually was our SEAM outfit, but put us in 700 truck battalion. Before we just had, I guess we must have about 100 some trucks. When we was in 144, we had about 100 trucks. Might have had about 150. But they put us in 700 truck battalion. We had about 900 then, about 900 trucks from all kinds. But still, and they give you a license, and on that license tell what you can drive. If it's not on your license, you can't drive it. So on my license, I could drive a 2.5-ton truck. I could drive a car, just a regular car. I forgot what they call it, a regular car. And then I could drive I think it was a 37-passenger bus I could drive too.
Did you have to know how to fix them too, or you just drove them?
No, you don't just drive it. Every time you go out on the field up in that Red Clay in Georgia, every time you go out on the field, you come back, you got to clean that thing up on the bottom and the top. You got to clean that thing with a toothbrush. You got to get that thing shored up clean. All them on the differential there, it's kind of braced up like, and that red clay getting there, but you got to get all it out there. They make sure you get it out there too. But I think that's what they do. They take it out there when it's real rainy and real muddy, and get it all mudded up, and then come back and you got to clean it like it was brand new.
So you learn how to fix it doing that?
No, they won't let you fix it. I mean, you had to be I wasn't in the mechanic. I mean, you be assigned to a truck, you got to keep that thing like it's new all the time. I don't care how much mud you get on, you got to get it off. You got to look just like it's new all the time. And they have an inspection. You stand up at the bump of your truck when they have an inspection, and you have the hood up and tailgate down, and if they find any dirt on it, they're gonna write you up. So you got to have, and also they have paint where you can paint it. If it's scratched off, you can paint it. You have to keep painted up, cleaned up, everything.
Did you have any other duties besides driving the truck, or that was your duty? That was your job?
Well, now let's see. One time I was driving for ration breakdown. I leave about 4 o'clock in the morning time, go down to ration breakdown, and then I just back up there to the place up there, and they load with the ration where we take it around the barracks, different barracks, and distribute it out. I did that for about 2 or 3 months. I driving for ration breakdown, and then after that, they put me driving for the general. The general, he was the general of the whole base.
And what was his name?
Let's see what that general was name was. it's a captain name keep on coming up in my mind, so I can't think the general's name. I can't think that general's name right now. But anyway, started had me drive for a general, and you had, on the fender, the car had two little poles sticking up there, and had two. I think the flags were red on it. Had two flags on it, and when the general's in there, you had to take that off. And you drive down the street, everybody had to salute that car. And if I forget to put that thing out over the flag, when I come on, everybody had to come to attention to salute the car. If the general wasn't in there, because when he's not in there, I was supposed to put that thing out over each one of those little flags so it don't flag.
So they know not to salute.
Yeah, But if he was in there, I had to take that off, and everybody had to salute that car when it come along. And so I drove for him for about 2 or 3 months. But what happened? One day I couldn't find him. So what happened? You got to know on the post. You got to know all the buildings on the post, all the numbers. There's all numbered. And where it was the main post theater, and something like this there. A street comes this way, and this street here, call it Division Road. He was right in there, but every time I get this number run out, when I get there, the number run out, and then I couldn't find where he was at. I couldn't find him. I looked and looked at it, couldn't find I come from one way, and I looked, and the numbers be going right, but just before I get to that, the numbers change. And I missed picking him up one evening that last time they let me drove for him. I didn't pick him up on time. I finally found him, but I didn't pick him up on time. And so then they drive him to boy. I was glad to get rid of him, to tell you the truth. Because, see, when you drive for an officer, either a general, either one, they have you carry a bunch of rags along with you and some wax. And while he in the building there, you got to be wiping on the car. I don't care how hot the sun is out there, you got to keep wiping on the car. While he in there, you got to keep wiping on the car, wiping it all around the car while he in there. Sometimes he be in there like a half a day, but you got to be out there in the hot sun wiping on the car. And so I was really glad to get rid of myself. So after that, I think I just start back, just making different runs out on the field, out there taking the soldiers out on the field after that. And one time the ROTC, they brought the ROTC people there so we could give them some training out on the field. And then we stayed out on the field about 2 months out there with the ROTC. And those ROTC guys were dropping out every day. I mean, flunking out, and we was training them, but we staying out there on the field out there with them. So that's what, about 2 months we was out there with them.
So how long were you at Fort Gordon?
Let me see. I was there a long time. When we left Fort Rook, Alabama, select to me, we must have left Fort Rook, Alabama in March, I think. March. I believe it was in March, left Fort Rook, Alabama. February, March 1, left Fort Rook, Alabama, and we went to Fort Gordon. And I stayed there the whole rest of the time I was in the military. The rest of the time I stayed right there in Fort Gordon. Now, we went to some other place, but we didn't stay there, though. One time we went to Fort Stewart to pick up some trucks, and we stayed there overnight at Fort Stewart, but that's as long as we stayed there overnight at Fort Stewart.
So how did you end up getting out of the service? What happened?
I was so glad to get out. I was glad to get out. Well, when my time was up, they told me to go down there and check out.
Your term of enlistment or your war end? Or...
I need to go to the bathroom just a little while.
We can take a break before you leave. Let me get this from you.
I know the light's annoying, but it makes you look so good. That's why we use it. That's why we use it.
Now, where was we at now?
Well, your term of service had ended, and you're ready to leave Fort Gordon and come back to the real world.
Yeah, when the time, just for that time ended, I disobeyed an indirect order. See,
how do you disobey an indirect order?
See, a NCO had to give indirect order. Office can give a direct order.
Okay, I see.
So I disobeyed an indirect order. I've been driving truck 2 days and a night. I drove all night in 2 days. I drove 1 day, all night, and all day the next day, and I come in to eat, and I just sat down. Old corporate told me, I want you to get out there and get in that truck and go somewhere. I said, I just got here. He said, I said, for you get in the truck. He cursed at me. You get your so-and-so out there and get in that truck. And so then by the time I started to go, it was too late. By the time I started to go, it was too late. He said, you done disobeyed the indirect order, and you gonna have to go see the captain. And so he was old sergeant. He liked me. He sure didn't like me. He'd been in the military about 30 years. Boy, he didn't like me. So he'd always try to get something on me. And so I went to see the captain. I ran, and then I come to attention, and I went this way, and then I come to attention. I got ready for the officer. I saluted him. He said, "These my there," so I did that. He said, I looked through your record. He said, all the time you've been here, you've been a real good soldier, all as long as you've been in here. So he said, I'm not going to hold this against you this time. He said, but you be careful, don't you do that no more now. He said, don't do it no more, but I'm not going to hold this against you. He said, because it ain't be too long now, you're going to be getting out. So he said, I'm not going to hold this against you. So I went back. I went out the door, and old sergeant was out there walking up and down, waiting on me to come out. He just walking up and down. As soon as I come out, he running in there. He running in there. He come out all dropped down. I said, I just laughing, but I didn't want to see me laughing. I said, he just thought sure I was gonna get some time in prison. So he running in there to see whether I was gonna get some time. He was surprised when he got in the office. The captain didn't charge me with it. And so I said, I like to messed up good that time.
Do you recall the captain's name?
I forgot that captain's name. I forgot that captain's name.
How about the sergeant?
I don't know what the sergeant's name is either. I know one thing, he ain't like me, I knew that.
Sergeant didn't like me.
Yeah, he ain't like me, I knew that. But I don't know what his name was, but...
Were you able to finish the rest of your term without any problems?
Oh, yeah. I got more careful that time. I got careful, and I could miss it so easy. I got real careful then. Yeah.
So you were discharged, you left Fort Gordon. What did you do then?
I went on back to Maxwell Brothers, the same place I left from. I went on back to Maxwell Brothers when I left there.
Okay. So you came back as a veteran, and you had your benefits, you had everything. What did you decide to do?
Oh, I decided I'd do a little farming, so then I decided I'd go to school on the GI Bill and take up agriculture, but that didn't work out too good. That didn't work out, so I couldn't make on that little money they paid, so I just got off money. I told me I didn't want to be involved in it no more.
Well, where did you start going to school before you stopped it?
Huh?
Where were you going to school before you stopped?
Up at J.R.E. Lee High School. J.R.E. Lee, that's the name of the school in town. J.R.E. Lee High School.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the first time that you ever voted?
Mm-hmm. First time I ever voted, I was 18 years old. And I was always with my uncle, the one who had a heart attack and died, Uncle John. He told me, he said, we gonna vote whether they throw it in the trash can. We gonna vote though. He said, now, every time we had an election, we gonna vote. And I always went with him, and we voted. I started voting when I was 18 years old. I started voting, and I voted every year. My uncle said he might throw it in the trash can, but we gonna vote anyway.
Why was the voting so important to you and your uncle?
Huh?
Why was it so important to you and your uncle?
And my uncle?
Yes, sir. Why was it so important to vote?
Well, it was a privilege we never could do before. So, and some people they do all kind of things keep you from voting. But my uncle said we gonna vote. Just have election, me and you gonna vote, and we went too.
What kind of stuff did they do to keep you from voting?
I really can't tell you right now, but I know that they do a lot of things to keep you from voting. Of course, they try to scare you off and everything, but me and my uncle and Pete, no matter, we go vote anyhow, whether their skills off or not.
Do you remember the first person you voted for?
No, I don't know that now.
Okay, but you just know you voted.
I voted, and I've been voting ever since. Ever since that day, I've been voting every election. I vote every election, and I still do.
Have you ever thought about some of the difficulties that other people had, in the South to vote? Whether it was somebody trying to scare them or somebody burning a cross or anything like that. Did any of those things happen around here that you were aware of?
No, I don't know nothing like that. I sure don't.
Do you remember where you were when students started sitting at the lunch counters to try to be served?
I was right here in Lake City. When students were sitting at lunch counter to be served. Right here in Lake City. and during that time, I was working out there, the aero out there. We work on the airplanes there, right back out this way. And it was a guy there from Valdosta. See, in Valdosta, they integrated that college in Valdosta in 1958. And so he was from Valdosta. He had raised all kinds of saying here about the integrating school, the lunch counter thing here. And his name was, let's see, what was his name? Kind of tall, young guy. I think what his name is right now. Anyway, I told her, I got him right in front of a bunch of the rest of them. I said, now, why is you raising so much saying about the integrating school and everything? I said, when they integrated that college in Valdosta in 1958, I said, that's right where you from. I got him good. He had nothing to say about it then.
What was it? Was it a big disturbance around here when people?
Oh, yeah, it was a big disturbance around here during that time. Yeah, it sure was.
And do you remember where was the place that the lunch counter was here in town that people were trying to sit in?
Right up there in Blanchard Hotel, there where they had a soda bar right in there. That was one of the lunch counters right there.
Was it the soda drug?
Yeah, that's where it was at.
But when it was in the Blanchard Hotel?
No, it was the soda. It was in the Blanchard Hotel where it was at, yeah.
Did you ever go there?
No.
No? Why not?
Huh?
Why not?
I mean, I was always working somewhere. I didn't take time. I was always working somewhere, But, I mean, put it this way. I belonged to NAACP, and I was the first lifetime member in Columbia County. The first lifetime member. We got about 58 lifetime members now, but I was one of the first ones. I actually was the first one. I was the first lifetime member in NAACP in Columbia County.
And what year did you do your lifetime membership?
1987.
Okay.
I always wanted to get in an organization that was doing something. I didn't want to get in an organization that wasn't doing nothing. Like one time I was in the Mason. Mason wasn't doing nothing. I got out of it. I said, I want to be in some organization that's doing something.
What was it about the NAACP that made you think they were doing something?
This lady named something out of Wales. I can't think of her first name, but she was on a postage stamp here not long ago.
Ida B. Wells?
Ida B. Wells. She was riding the train. I got what year it was. She was riding the train somewhere back in the 40s. She was riding the train, and she was up there on the front part. They told her she couldn't ride up there, so she got out and went walking. She said, if you want me to ride, I'll walk down side the track. So, but anyway, what she did, you remember up there in California where they loaded some ships at and they explode. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir. And they made all the black dock workers, they court-martialed them.
Yeah, right. All right. This lady, I'm telling you, she went to Washington and got all of them. Sentences overturned, but two, I think it was. But two. She got all of them sentences overturned, but two. That little old lady right by herself got all of them sentences overturned, but two. And I said, well, I mean, this organization is doing something. I always want to be in an organization doing something. I don't want to be in the wasn't doing nothing.
So you actually met her?
No, I never met her.
Oh, okay.
But I think NAACP is a real good organization. I mean, it's not a black it's not a real black organization, but we help white people and black people right here in Lake City. We help both right here in Lake City, and so it's for justice. As long as we can't, if you're right, well, we can't bother with it. But as long as you're right, it's for justice, you know, and it's real good at that too.
You were in the military when all this stuff happened with Harry T. Moore, but have you followed with any of the NAACP's programs honoring Harry T. Moore?
No, but I mean, I've been real active in NAACP. I've been about a whole lot of places with them. You know, we went to Pensacola back here when in Pensacola, Florida, back here about 5-6 years ago now. About every week they killed some black person in Pensacola. About every week killed somebody. So we went up there and this senator from Miami, what is his name, black senator from Miami, you know? Might be some kind of representative from Miami.
You're talking about either Kerry Meek or Kendrick?
Yeah. He was up there, and then some lawyers and some judges was up there, and what they said that they need on the police department didn't have no black in the whole department, and so they said that they're going to have some kind of police review board, something other, because they didn't have that up there. And so we went up there for that, and we also went to Fernandina, Florida down here for something we was involved down there. And I went every year in Disney World, NAACP have something every year in Disney World down there, and I've been here down there 4 or 5 times. So NAACP is an organization that's doing something, and it always have did things. I mean, it's help people who's in the right. It always did help people who's in the right. It always was a good organization. So I said, well, I'm gonna be in it. I'm old myself, but I want to help others. I want to help anybody else I can help too, you know.
I'm going to ask you about some events, some historical events. And if you would just give me your reflections on what you were doing when these things happened. When John Kennedy was assassinated.
When John Kennedy was assassinated, me and another lady was working in the dining room at the VA. They got a dining room there now, but they had one then at the VA hospital. Me and another lady were working in the dining room, and there was a television, and we saw it time it happened. Yeah, we saw it time it happened. Because me and her were working in the dining room that day.
What was it like in Lake City when it happened? How did people react that you remember?
Well, I know we had a supervisor there, and he said he was glad of it. That's what he said. He was glad of it, but somebody warned him. They said, the president you talking about, they could have you arrested for saying such thing as that. So he kind of quieted down, but he first said he was glad of it. So, yeah.
How about when Dr. King was assassinated?
I was going to school in Gainesville on the manpower program there in Gainesville at Santa Fe Junior College at that time.
How did you hear about it?
I don't know. We had a TV over there or not, but anyway, that's where I was at. I don't know exactly how I heard about it, but that's where I was at. Over there, you know, in Gainesville, right off from where the courthouse is now, right straight off this way from where the courthouse, that's where the Santa Fe Junior College was at during that time. He wasn't out there by the highway where he's at now.
How about when they landed on the moon for the first time? Do you remember where you were?
I don't believe they're landing on there yet, but
It's funny you said that. We talked to somebody earlier today that said the same thing. That a lot of people don't believe they landed on the moon.
Well, just think that they had this rocket was the rocket what they had when the Cleveland went to the moon with. It was compare it with the rocket they got now. That was about like a T-Mar compared up to a new Cadillac. The rocket what Cleveland went to the moon in, compared with the shuttle they got out there now. It was about like comparing a T-Mar with a Cadillac. So I just definitely don't believe it went. I went down there to Cape. I've been to Cape Canaveral 2 or 3 times down there, and I went to the place where they showed the thing that Cleveland went to the moon. I told that guy, so that thing don't look like me to fit into that smart. He said, "Oh no, this is just a replica of it. This is just a replica. This ain't the real thing." I said, "Monsieur, that thing won't fit in there. No how thing. You too big to go in that thing. Your Cleveland was in."
Do you believe that now they've gone to the moon and come?
No, he ain't went to no moon. You know he ain't went to no moon.
So you don't think they ever went?
No, he ain't went. It's 225,000 miles here to the moon, and the highest orbit they got now is only 200-some miles. It ain't 225,000. The moon is 225,000 miles away from the Earth, and the highest they got now is up there where the space shuttle at. That's the space shuttle in.
Space station?
Yeah, it's only 200-some miles above the Earth. That's a long way from 225,000.
What do you think that they gained by telling people that they went and really not going, if that's true?
They just want to make Russia think they want Russia to think we was ahead of them. That was it all about. Making Russia think we was ahead of them. But we wasn't ahead of them because Russia put that first satellite up called Sputnik. They put that up there. We hadn't been able to put nothing like that up. They put that up there, and we hadn't never put nothing up like that. So they just want Russia to think we was ahead of them. I had no idea Russia believed to start with.
What did you think about Barack Obama being elected president?
Barack Obama being president?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he's a smart man. I put it this way: he's a real smart man. Now and I'm real glad to know that a black man could reach this stage in the United States. Now, people can't say you can't get with this so high. You can get high. You can be president now. So, but Barack Obama is a real smart man. Why I say that? Because you see, he wrote those 2 books, and he got $25 million out. He way smarter than me. I ain't never thought nothing good like that. Yeah.
I think he's kind of having a hard time, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, the other president, look how the other president messed him up. So, I mean, he inherited, the other president, it fell right on the other president before he left. Bush said, why did it have to fall on me? Why did this thing have to fall on my watch? See, it fell on, Bush was intended to fall on the next president, but it fell on him before he got a chance to get out of office. It fell right on him. So, I mean, this president, he inherited so much stuff that was going on until if he ever get out from under all the stuff Bush had in there, he'd be lucky, I reckon, because Bush had messed it up. So I think Obama, him and his wife both is smart, because Obama's wife, the year that he got to be president, she made $700,000 herself.
We're sitting in your beautiful home that you built yourself, and I want to know if you could talk just a little bit about how you built it and why you built your home yourself.
I could never find out what real estate never showed me nothing that I was interested in. All they ever showed me was just outside this room right here. Oh, this is all you can afford. This is all you can afford. I said, well, that might be all I can afford, but that ain't what I want. I want something to look better than this. I want a big house, and I want a good, nice looking house, So I said, I'm gonna build it myself. And so I also went out here to college and took a brick mason course too before I started. I did that too. So after I did that, I said, I'm ready to build now. This is I can't exactly tell you what I was trying to tell you, but what I'm saying is this is my, anyway, I figure like this. First you got to know where you want to go, and next you got to figure out how you're going to get there. See, that's my theory about things. First, find out where you want to go, and next find out how you're going to get there. So I studied how to build this house here. I studied how to build it, and how I was gonna get it built and everything, and it worked just like I had planned it out. It worked just like I planned it out. Maybe I shouldn't tell you this part though. When I got it built, the place where I got the materials from, I owed them $12,000. Where I got the materials at, I owed them $12,000, and I had 10 years. I think I had 10 years to pay it off. I paid it off in 4 years. I paid it off.
Well, so you've been married for 56 years. You've been living in a house that you built yourself for 29 years. You've been in the military. You have 4 children. What kind of lesson do you think that your life can leave for younger people?
Well, my life for young people?
Yes, sir.
I read this thing, this guy Davis, what used to own Winn-Dixie, I think he did now, but he says, stay away from the courthouse, you can't make no money there. So, so that's my theory. Stay away from the courthouse. That's the wrong place. So you start to live your life in a way and stay out of trouble. You stay out of trouble and know where a lot of people are sitting around the outlet. That's how you get in a lot of trouble. But it's best to just try to find you something to do and just always stay busy, So. When I was young, I did a lot of fishing, but I got two old launched a boat. Now I got a big boat sitting right there, but 2 old launched it now. So, but when I was young, I did a lot of fishing. You see fish up down there?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I did a lot of fishing when I was young, and I fished all about it in the ocean, everywhere, all around the ocean, everywhere. And I caught a whole lot of fish. I got stories around here in some of these books, but I don't know which one is in, but where I caught a whole lot of fish.
Okay. Well, Mr. Mizell, it has been an honor to sit with you in your home and talk to you about your life story. I hope that we can come back and talk to you again sometime.
All right, okay.
So on behalf of the Oral History Program, we thank you, both myself and my colleague, Deborah Hendricks, who's behind the camera. And I'd just like to conclude the interview with that thanks, and then to ask you if there's anything that you want to say, your reflections on the interview, or something that you didn't get a chance to say that you had planned on, please go ahead and make those comments.
No, that's all right. I just want to do whatever you want done. I mean, whatever you want to talk about. So that's all I wanted to do, whatever you wanted to talk about.
Well, thank you very much.
All right.